All right, Shalom. This is Brother Nahal here from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah, and a sincere salutation to all you Akia, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. All right, this is Ephesians chapter 5, and I want to jump down. I'm going to read this in the NLT first. All right. I'll start at 14. All right, and it reads, "For the light makes everything visible. This is why it is said, Awake, O sleeper, rise up from the dead, and Hamashiach will give you light. So be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the will of the Lord. But understand what the Lord wants you to do." All right. I want to go into a lesson on that through the Spirit, because ultimately in this time, it's about understanding what the will of the Lord is and applying wisdom. There's a saying in the world that knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And that also applies, if you will, to the truth. It's not enough to know, but it's also a responsibility, if you will, to apply what you know. We're coming into a very dangerous time through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai, concerning the evil days on the earth. Now, again, concerning the elect, the Lord, as the scripture said, will be thy confidence in that day. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. But it doesn't mean that you're exempt from applying what you understand. All right, let's go here. This is Psalms chapter 90. And I'll start at verse 12. All right, and it reads, "So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom." All right, when you read this in the NLT, it says, "Teach us to realize the brevity of life, so that we may grow in wisdom." All right, now I want to get this. All right, concerning that word number. All right, it says to count, reckon, number, assign, tell, appoint, prepare. All right, and the words that the Lord has given us concerning this understanding is supposed to prepare us. The scriptures tell us not to be offended at the things that are going to happen when they happen. Whether it's persecution, whether it's us being pilgrims on the earth, the wars, the uproars of the people. These are things that we see and we understand through the Spirit. But this knowledge was also given to us to apply it in our own walk. Being slow to speak, swift to hear, being wise as serpents and harmless as doves. These are things that are going to have gravity, if you will, in the time that we're coming into. Because we're coming into a very serious time. You see the evils that are growing upon the earth. You see the things that the Lord is doing on the earth. All right, from the war, to the uproars, to the cost of living. Everything is playing a role, and it all goes back to judgment. And it's up to us through the Spirit, to apply what we've learned. All right, let's go here. This is Matthew chapter 25 and 1, and it reads, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. All right, and this is extremely important. These are things that we read, through the Spirit, but we're living in that time. And a part of that is application, and also understanding the times that we're in. You have a lot of Israelites who know that they're Israelites, but their mentality is to build a community. They have a certain sentiment of relishing in the culture as opposed to preparing ourselves for the time. All right. Having our culture back is a beautiful thing, but we also have to discern the signs of the times, as the Lord told those scribes and Pharisees. We also have to understand the time that we're in. There's a season, there's a place for everything. What time are we in? This is something that's important to know. And that's why application is going to be extremely important in the time that we're coming into. Now, we know the Lord is going to save the elect. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. And as the scripture said, we put on therefore as the elect. But it doesn't excuse us from applying the wisdom of Yahweh Shema Shai in our walk, especially in the time that we're coming into. All right, let's go here. This is Proverbs chapter 3. And I love this chapter, right? Because when you go to, there's a lot of good points in this one. But I'm going to just get this first in verse 21. So it's Proverbs 3 and 21. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul and grace to thy neck. Now check this out in the NLT. It says, my child, don't lose sight of common sense and discernment. Hang on to them. All right. Because again, there are things that are lawful that are not necessarily expedient in this life. And every brother, has to discern that for themselves. The sisters as well. You have to discern that. There's nothing wrong with having a drink, but you have to understand your own spirit to know if it's meat for you. It may be lawful, but it may not be expedient for you. And I'm just using that as a low-hanging fruit example of being able to have some discretion, in applying wisdom concerning the time that we're in, especially. The scriptures talk about us being lawful for us to have multiple wives, but it may not necessarily be expedient. This is when applying wisdom becomes extremely important. We know Isaiah 4 and 1 is going to happen, but me and brothers were talking, I want to say last week or even the weekend, and Isaiah 4 and 1 is really going to happen when brothers least expect it. And it ain't going to be that whole, Cheshire smile, music video-esque. You first come into the truth, get all giddy when you hear certain things, but as you become more seasoned through the Spirit, you understand, the prophecies more and things become more serious, and it's not how you imagine it. So Isaiah 4 and 1 is going to come when brothers least expect it, to brothers who least expect it. I'll say it that way as well. But again, going back to the point is applying this wisdom, applying what we understand through the Spirit. This is the time where we're getting our oil, where we're being groomed through the Spirit for the world to come. And a part of that grooming is applying what we've learned through the Spirit. The scriptures talk about doing nothing without counsel, especially in this time. If you're unsure through the Spirit, it's extremely important in this time through the Spirit, because again, things are getting more and more serious. It's a beautiful time through the Spirit, but that also is a sign that the Lord is about to give us the final exam. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. Now I want to go back to Matthew 25. And as the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing, I say this not to shame you, but to warn you, that we're in that time through the Spirit, and it is a beautiful time. I don't want this statement to fall on to present itself as something to be worried about, but it's just a lesson through the Spirit of applying what we are learning through the Spirit. Every person that you run into that's talking about the news and politics at your job or at the grocery store, It's not always meet let them know what your right hand is doing. You have to discern that for yourself. You know, this is a part of applying wisdom and discretion. All right, so I want to go to Isaiah 25, and I want to get the commentary concerning this parable. All right. I want to hit a point real quick. All right, it says, now 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. It says, some in the wedding party were wise and prepared for the coming of the bridegroom. Some in the wedding party were foolish and unprepared. Foolish, wise, not bad and good, but prudent and imprudent, thoughtless and thoughtful. All right, and that reminds me of Ephesians 5, where it talks about not being thoughtless, continuing to remind yourself through the Spirit of the time that we're in. Of course, we're blessed through the Spirit to know what we know, and we're confident through the Spirit that the Lord's going to deliver us in these times. But it doesn't make us exempt. It doesn't give us the ability to just move without applying wisdom. The scriptures talk about taking no thought for your life, which means don't worry. But it doesn't mean you have a license to just go through this life without applying the wisdom that we're learning, if that makes sense. Now, I want to continue. It says, while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. It says, all 10 of the maidens slept because the bridegroom was delayed. In this parable, both the wise and foolish maidens slept, but the wise ones were prepared to act immediately when they were unexpectedly awakened. Now, this is beautiful, right? Because the scripture said our salvation is nearer than we believe, and we're watching. We see these things going down. We see it, So it's even going to catch those who are watching, as the scriptures say, nearer than we believe. But it's in the heart of the wise virgins. It's in the spirit of the elect, if you will, to be prepared. That's why, the walk that the Lord has put us all through in whatever shape, form, or fashion has taught you to detach, whether you realize that or not. A lot of things have not gone your way since you've been in this truth, and that's intentional. It's to prepare you for the time that we're coming into. So even if it comes nearer than we believed, Lord willing, we be a part of that number and we're those wise virgins, you'll have the oil in your lamp to sustain yourself. Because gathering what we understand through the Spirit in this time wasn't about looking deep. It was always about trimming your lamp through the Spirit to understand the time we're in, to have faith through the time we're in, and for that knowledge and wisdom to be the stability in the time that we're in. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. I wanted to just go into that. It was on my spirit. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and its